Jets fans, I can't believe it. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. We're in the new studio. What do you think? It's not complete yet. It's not. We're getting there. We're good enough to get this going, right? We're not done. But welcome to the new studio. This is episode 88 of Greenbeanjetsfan, and I am Greenbean. Welcome. I am happy that you are here. I know something about you right now that's pretty damn obvious, quite frankly. You're in a good mood, aren't you? You are in a good mood like I'm in a good mood. Guys, the Jets are 4-2. 4-2. We only lost 2 games this year, and we're done with week 6. I don't even know what the hell is going on. I really don't know what's going on. I really don't. I don't know what's happening. Do you know what's happening? It's incredible. So we're allowed to be happy. There's lots to gripe about. And if you watch our live streams during the games for Jetnation, Jeremy from Jets Chaos and myself, we get into it. You know, we talk, we gripe. We got things to gripe about. But at the end of the day, Jets fans need to be really happy. I know I am. I am satisfied. We wanted progress this year. We were hoping for 7 to 9 wins this year. Truth is, I would still be happy with 7 to 9 wins. Well, 7's, I'd probably be disappointed at this point because we didn't think we'd have 4 wins this early in the season. Dude, it's October. And we got 4 wins. I don't even know what to do with it. How do I organize this? It's just a weird thing. I'm very, very happy. I want to say welcome to all you new folks. We are gaining new followers, new subscribers, new listeners every single week. And I'm very, very grateful. I'm happy to have you guys here. I really am. It makes my day. You know what I mean? It really does. If it is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. And you can do a very, very nice thing for the channel. It helps us. It helps the whole YouTube thing. It helps us grow. If you hit that little like button, looks like a little thumb. And then if you could hit that subscribe button, YouTube will suggest videos coming out of this channel for you when you sign on to YouTube. Isn't that nice? You get a little something, I get a little something. And there you go. If you want even more private access to this white bearded fella, you can join the Bean Baggers. That is an exclusive group of private access. We have post-game private Zoom calls. We have monthly classic Jets games. This month for October, we're going to watch that old Ken O'Brien, Dan Marino shootout, 49 or 51 to 45. Yeah, that sounds about right. So we're going to watch that. Wesley Walker scored 4 touchdowns. We are going to relive that moment. If you've never seen it, you're going to love it. If you saw it, it's probably been a while. It's going to be nice to go back in time and reminisce together. But that's how you do that. You click the link in the description for the Bean Baggers, and that's how you get involved with that. And I'm greatly appreciative of such considerations. Now, guys, like I said, the Jets are 4-2. Most of us never imagine this. I mean, we do oh, wouldn't it be nice? It's like, what do you do if you win the lottery kind of talk? You know what I mean? Oh, first thing I would do, and then you try to trick the gods or the universe. You go, the first thing I would do is I would donate half to the children. Yes, the children. I would save the children. You hear that? Only half I would take. 500 million. I only want 20 million. I'll give the rest to the children. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of stuff. The Jets 4-2. I never even thought that would be possible. But here we are. It's real. And the thing that happened this week, this is the week we shut everybody's face. That's what we did this week. This is the first week we're not playing some sort of second or third string quarterback. It doesn't matter that we just ended Mitch Trubisky's attempt at being a starter in the NFL. We didn't get to their third string quarterback or second string on purpose. We crushed them. That's why they stuck in Pickett, and we crushed him too. Jacoby Brissett, well, hey, how about you don't give $230 million guaranteed to a guy who's out there in all kinds of trouble with the law? How about that? How about you don't do that? Miami is another one. How about you don't sneak around on yachts trying to sign people who are under contract? Everybody gets punished, and now we're supposed to forget your owner wasn't even allowed at the team facility. You got your first round picks taken, and then you're sliding Tua Tagovailoa's injuries under the carpet. We don't want to hear it, okay? And on top of that, we knocked your second string quarterback out of the game. So all those arguments are done. Now we get to play Hall of Famer Aaron Rodgers. And guess what we did? Shellackaroon! That's what we did. We shellacked him and his friends and everybody in Lambeau Field, with all due respect. But I heard him booing. And that makes me happy. It does. How about we got to see a Lambeau leap from the Jets? Breece Hall, rookie. And guess what? He did the Lambeau leap, and there were Jets fans waiting. Oh, my God. It's almost like it's a storybook. It's a story. I don't even know how to. Is it real? Is there a terrible ending? I don't know. But it's a storybook. It's a fantasy land. I don't know what's happening. But today is that day. This week is the week we shut everybody up. Now, I already heard some stuff right after the game. They weren't talking about how great the Jets look, how aggressive, how mean and nasty they're playing on defense, how Breece Hall and Michael Carter are damn near unstoppable as a running back tandem. No. They were talking about the Packers look off. Something's wrong with the Packers, and that may be true. It may be true, but that's the take, at least on this day, at least today. Let's see how the week develops. Maybe they'll start to go, geesh, Michael Clemens is, man. Maybe they start talking like that. Quinnen Williams, he might be the best defensive player in the NFL. Maybe we'll see that. But for now, the Packers, something's wrong with them. And look, he didn't have his starting wide receiver, and he misses Devontae Adams. They're really sad about that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens this week. But guys, as I said, this is episode 88, and we are going to do what we do. We are going to jump right into our player profile that coincides with the number of the episode 88. And let's get into that. Who is it? Most of you want me to say Altoon. We do. We want to say that. And I thought about it, but I can't because there's somebody on our team wearing the number 88. So I got to give him some love. Our player profile should be someone that's playing for the New York Jets. And we have that. We have a number 88. Now, last year, he was not number 88. He was not number 83. But Dan Conklin took that. Now he's 88. He took it. Stole it. He pulled it. I said, you know what I want? I want 88. And it is none other than one of my personal project type of players, somebody I liked all through his final year in college, actually his final 2 years in college, and why, draft prospect and the whole thing, and I'm really rooting for him. Mr. Kenny Yeboah, tight end. Kenny Yeboah out of Ole Miss / Temple. So you can't really, most people are going to say Ole Miss because that's where he kind of had his breakout. But the truth is, Temple did all the work. So let's talk about this guy. He's a 6'3", 250-pound tight end who was a wide receiver. A lot of people don't know that about Kenny. It's one of the reasons I like him so much. He was an unheralded wide receiver out of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Nobody wanted him. No scholarship offers. Nothing. He could go play at a JUCO or something like that. And then last minute, Temple came and said, we'll give you something. We'd like you to come. Now, at the time, Matt Rule was the coach down there. Matt Rule, you got to give him credit for this one at least. At least Kenny Yeboah does. Kenny David Yeboah. So he's got to give him credit because it was Matt Rule that sat down with Yeboah and said, look, bro, you're probably not going to make it as a wide receiver, but you're big enough. You got enough room on your frame. We could add 30 pounds and we could try you at tight end. Now, for 2 years, Kenny Yeboah did that work to morph from a skinny wide receiver, really, into a muscular tight end type guy, 250 pounds. He gained about 35 pounds or so, 35, and became a tight end. He stayed for 1 year. At his last year out of Temple, he actually did have a lot of offers to do like a post-grad thing at their school. He chose Ole Miss specifically for Lane Kiffin. He wanted to play in that offense, thought it would do well for him. It did, but not well enough that he got drafted. Now, I was screaming that whole draft. Kenny Yeboah from third. I would have taken him with a third or fourth round pick, but didn't need to. Thankfully, I'm not the GM, at least in this regard. Joe Douglas waited and made him our priority free agent. He was the first free agent that we signed post the draft. We signed Kenny Yeboah. I got a million DMs. Hey, we got your guy. Now, last year was interesting. He had a very good game 4 of the preseason. Remember, he had 2 touchdowns and the whole thing. He got cut anyway, and he made it to our practice squad. Now, on the practice squad, for a few weeks, then he got called up to the active roster because of special teams. And this was because of injuries, right? Tyler Croft, Ryan Griffin, Daniel Brown. These guys are injured all the time. So Kenny Yeboah made it to the active roster, and he did very, very well on special teams. He played special teams pretty much all year for us. And then later in the season, last 2 games of the year, he got thrown into the offense and made good. Nothing crazy. Didn't light the world on fire, but blocked well. And when his number was called, he made a couple receptions, and he looked good. Now, here's where it gets interesting for Kenny Yeboah. You might not know this. Kenny Yeboah has been called up to the 53-man roster twice. The first time was in Cleveland. He got on the field there, remember? You remember. I know you do. And then just in this Green Bay game, he was called up again. Now, the interesting wrinkle is that he can only be called up to the active roster one more time and be allowed back on the practice squad. He can't go back to the practice squad if you're called up 3 times. So if they have to make a decision on Kenny Yeboah, either he's good enough to be on the active roster, God forbid, we end up having an injury or something like that, which we don't want. But if that happens, then maybe they bump Kenny Yeboah up and keep him on the active roster that way. But if everybody stays healthy, we might just see Yeboah on the practice squad the rest of the year, assuming that he doesn't get plucked and put on somebody else's active roster if they have injuries or what have you. Who knows? So Kenny Yeboah is in an interesting spot. He's developing nicely. He contributes when he's asked to, but he hasn't broken through yet. Now, when you look on our roster, there's another guy, same kind of thing, a little bit more, but Tyler Conklin had first couple years where he didn't really make it. He didn't really do too much. And then all of a sudden, boom, out of nowhere, had a great year, big free agent contract, here he is, right? So there's Kenny Yeboah. Let's see what happens. My eyes are on him, as you know. I watch my boy, and we'll see how it goes with him. Hopefully, he continues to progress and can end up being one of these young guys on the roster contributing. That would be really, really great. So let us go right from our player profile, our Kenny Yeboah deep dive, and we'll dive right into our next segment we like to call the News of the Week. 4-2. Yes, that is what's happening. The Jets, out of nowhere, unbeknownst to most, are 4-2. We do not care. Now, what's really fun is that after we lost week 1, which was very disappointing, by the way, very lifeless game, just a lot of baloney, Saleh came out and said, we're taking receipts. And people killed him for it. Like, what are you talking about? Receipts, man? How about you win some games? But since then, this receipts thing has kind of taken on a life of its own. You're seeing it all over the place. It's crazy. It's become the rallying cry of this team. I think it had more of an impact in the locker room than it did. It landed in the locker room much more than it did outside of the locker room. And now everybody's on it. That's all. As soon as something happens, they call it a receipt. As soon as this guy does that, he's handing in a receipt. So Salah, it's a masterstroke, if you will. I don't know if he meant to do it or what, but it's pretty cool. So the Jets are handing in receipts. I can't wait till Brady Quinn gets his, predicting 0-9. Maybe 1-8, he said. So 0-9, 1-8. The Jets are 4-2. We just went into Lambeau Field and beat the Green Bay Packers with Hall of Fame quarterback Aaron Rodgers at the helm. You say maybe he didn't have all the weapons that he's used to having. Maybe not, but he still had Romeo Doubs and Cobb and all kinds of guys. He had the running backs, right? He had Jones and Dillon. So there's enough there. He's enough there for a guy like Aaron Rodgers to shred you and beat you up. Didn't happen. Now, the Jets defense came out, man. From the word go, the Jets chose to defer, put the defense on the field, and they were snarling. They were bloodthirsty. They came out hitting right from the gate. Sadly, we didn't get to see what looked like a beautiful start by Sauce again. Remember, last week he had that first play. Safety, the whole thing changed the game. Started it off on a crazy note. It looked like Sauce Gardner had a pick six. I couldn't believe it. I lost my mind, and it ended up it just hit the ground. Sucks. Now look, it is what it is. I still would have loved it for him starting 2 weeks in a row like that. Oh my goodness, that would have been crazy. But on Sauce, look, man, Sauce Gardner dominated in this game. Now look, just take a look at this. Look at this coverage on him. It's truly amazing. I mean, the guy, it's like you can't lose him. You can't lose him, and it's really great to see, man. Like, honestly, like, you hate to make comparisons to anybody who's great for a rookie in his sixth game. But I'm going to tell you, man, we haven't seen cornerback play like this in 12 years. Let's just say 12 years. Can we just say that? I won't say any names. But 12 years it's been since we really saw cornerback play at this level. And even DJ Reed is a stud, but Sauce in particular. Now, the other thing I love about Sauce is it's this stuff. It's the receipts end of it. After the game, Sauce Gardner went and put on a cheese head. And he walked around the stadium saying hello to the Jets fans. He's getting booed over here, but he gets it, man. He gets it. Like, he's not overtly slinging mud. It's just a little something. It's letting everybody know, yes, we were supposed to get killed. This was the week that we were supposed to finally end the dream. It was like, okay, all right, they beat a bunch of third string quarterbacks, blah, blah, Aaron Rodgers. They were supposed to crush us, so he put on the cheese hat, now called the cheese sauce, which I like. I like this name, cheese sauce. And he walked around the stadium. Now, you can see how upset the Packers got it, because look, Lazard walked over, and Alan Lazard just knocked it off his head, which I gotta say, I have no problem with. I would want my Jets player to do that. I would say, that's right, knock it off. Didn't faze Sauce. He's not, nothing serious. He put it back on, he walked around, and I really love it. I think it's fantastic, that we have players that are not only super crazy talented, not only young, coming out of the box like this, but they get it, man. They seem to have that little bit of swag, just a little touch, acknowledging not only the stuff happening now, toward the Jets. We suck, we're this, you stink, all this, the Turnpike, it's even all these guys. It's not only that, but it's the last however long. They get it. We are tortured as an organizational group, as the fan base. We are tortured, and they understand that. And they're kind of giving us that little bit extra. And Sauce Gardner is way at the top of this, man. He was a monster today. Now, you look at guys like C.J. Mosley. C.J. Mosley was on fire. He looked like a demon today. C.J. Mosley in total had 11 tackles, all right? 7 of those tackles were solo, and he also had a pass defense. He was everywhere today. And thunderous hits. All these guys. C.J. Mosley was whacking people. That's the thing. You started to see Packers receivers, like when they're catching, they started to drop the ball. Why? They started to look for the hit. They were bracing. We let them know early. You might catch the ball, but we are going to make you pay. And that is the football we have not been seeing here in a long time. C.J. Mosley had 11 tackles, 7 solo. That's not even the best. Quincy Williams in his return had 14 tackles, 8 of which were solo. And let me tell you, boy, some of those hits were monsters. Monster hits, letting them know you're not gonna run up the middle on us. I know that's supposed to be your big bread and butter. You're gonna run it. Nope, not today. Now, as much as I liked Quan Alexander's coverage, I think he's laying some wood and all that too. The one thing Quincy Williams brings that nobody else on this team really can are those hits. Those hits are his and his alone on this defense. So it sucks that these guys don't have these full games. One guy's great in this, and he's not so good at that. The other guy's reverse. He's really great at that, but he's not so good at this. And that's kind of what we're seeing. But Quincy Williams, 14 tackles with 8 solo. Now, guys, as great as those two numbers are, Sauce and everything is great, they weren't even the best guy we had on the field today. Quinnen Williams, Quincy's brother, is becoming a man before our eyes, man. He is becoming that elite defensive tackle that we hoped we were getting when we used the 3rd overall pick on him. Like I said last week, it's a Mike McCagnon pick, man. But this guy is just about as good as we've seen here, maybe since Chris Jenkins. And Chris Jenkins, as you remember, his problem was health, not talent, not drive, any of that stuff. It was just that he couldn't stay healthy. But Quinnen Williams today had probably his best game as a Jet. Listen to these numbers. It's incredible. Number one, he had 5 tackles from the defensive tackle position, 4 of which were solo tackles. But he also had 2 sacks, 2 tackles for a loss, 3 quarterback hits, so not sacks, but still hitting that quarterback. He had a forced fumble and a blocked field goal. Dude, who does all that in one game? I'm telling you, Quinnen is out of control, and it's fun. It's fun to see. I hope that his percentages keep going up, because let me tell you something. He's just as good at the run as he is on the pass. And like when we have these reasonings like sticking Nathan Shepard in there for the run, because he's a run, dude, Quinnen's better than Nathan Shepard at the run. He's better than everybody we have on the interior at rushing the passer. He's the stud of the defense. Keep him on the field. I think he deserves Aaron Donald-like percentages, at least in the high 80s, right, man? So let's see where it goes. Either way, Quinnen had himself a game. Now we'll throw in JFM, also had 2 tackles with 1 solo, a sack and a tackle for a loss. Sheldon Rankins also chimed in with a sack and a tackle for a loss. Bryce Huff had 2 quarterback hits, and again, his presence is felt. Jacob Martin also had a quarterback hit. It's the defensive line. Most of the time we're rushing 4, and they're getting there, man. They're getting there. In addition to that, with some help of the linebackers, check this out. The Packers, who were supposed to be running all over us, total 60 yards on the ground. 60 yards on the ground. Aaron Jones had 9 rushes for 18 yards. That sounds like a 2-yard average to me. A.J. Dillon had 10 rushes for 41, so that's a 4.1 yard average. But, dude, I mean, inconsequential. 60 yards total. It's nothing. 60 yards. So this is what this defense is doing. The defensive line was able to muster up 4 sacks and just a slew of pressure. So much pressure. He was running around all over the place. They were able to bring him down 4 times. There should have been a few more times he slipped out and all that jazz. But in addition to that, they held him to 60 yards on the ground. Aaron Rodgers did end up having, he was 26 for 41 for 246 yards and a touchdown. He had an 88.1 quarterback rating. So look, man, whatever's going on with Aaron Rodgers, if you think he's off or whatever, it doesn't matter. This Jets defense held him to an 88.1 quarterback rating and 246 yards on 41 attempts. So man, oh man, the Jets defense was flying around and they were making things look good. Now, a good thing they did do that, because let me tell you, for the first 2.5 quarters, the offense was inept. Now, it's funny. It's like, you can't talk about this without... It's like you say the offense was inept in the first half. People are like, oh, but we won the game. What's your problem? Why do you complain? And I'm not complaining. I'm telling you a fact. The Jets offense had major problems. Now, I'm going to tell you what those problems were. One, Zach Wilson was off like we've never seen him before. I'm telling you, that might have been his worst game. I mean, it's his worst game that I can think of right now. Maybe not. Maybe he had a worse one his rookie year. Like maybe the Patriots game, 4 interceptions. Maybe that was worse. But the thing is with Zach Wilson, and this is the craziest thing about this young team. It's not supposed to happen with a young team. They're a late, the fourth quarter team. Let's say it like it is. Every victory that they've had, it's been the fourth quarter. And even the loss to the Bengals, the defense, the whole second half, they had clamped down. Their fourth quarter, they gave up nothing. So when the offense finally caught up to the defense, it was in the fourth quarter. They stepping on people's throats in the fourth quarter. And it's very good that they did because the defense was giving them opportunity after opportunity. And you start to get nervous as a Jets fan. We're not going to get all these opportunities that much off. It's we're not going to get them throughout the game. Quinnen Williams blocks a field goal. Michael Clemens, another rookie, blocks a punt. And then we run the punt in for a touchdown. This team is dude, they're giving it. They're giving it. But then Zach Wilson, who did not have a good day. Can we say that? He had 110 yards. I mean, can we say it like it is? He had 110 yards passing. He was 10 for 18 with no touchdowns, but no turnovers either. Now, look, man, when he's running around, he's throwing underhanded passes. I don't know what that is. It's giving me the heebie-jeebs. It is. It's giving me the willies. But at the end of the day, another game with no turnovers. Another game with no turnovers. And it just so happened that we didn't need him because the running game was out of control. Breece Hall finally gets his first game over 100 yards on the ground. He was 20 rushes for 116 yards and a touchdown. Almost had a second touchdown. But Breece Hall, his impact cannot be understated. Michael Carter, in relief of Breece Hall, he also had 6 rushes for 41 yards and a 6.8 yard average. Breece Hall's average was 5.8 yards. This tandem of ours is studly, and you can lean on them. It took a little while for Mike LaFleur to do just that, and the truth is, I didn't love Mike LaFleur's game plan, but there was a good couple comments in the chat during our live stream, and I think you need to include it. Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, Robert Saleh, they're buds. They know each other. They're probably able to neutralize a lot of what the other ones are doing, and I think we saw a lot of that today, and I'll give that to LaFleur. The one problem I have with LaFleur, and it's been this way since he's been here, and I'd love to see it start to change, I don't love the way that he sets up the game to develop confidence in Zach Wilson. Now, maybe he shouldn't have to, right? Maybe not. Why do I have to develop confidence? Why do you got to baby, this kid and hold his hand? I don't know, but you do, right? Wouldn't it be nice to just see us kind of start with some 3-step drops, quick stuff? We saw it later. That whole touchdown drive, whenever Zach went back to pass, 3-step drop. At least that's what I remember. Maybe not. I got to look at it all again. But that's what it was. 3-step drops. Quick, quick, quick. That's what you do. You get them confident. And now, 3rd and 1, 7-step drop, 5 7-step drops, long routes. Why are we doing this? 3 feet. 1 yard is 3 feet. That's this much. That's all it is. You take Breece Hall, you pound him, or just quick, just boop, boop, just throw right over it. Hey, he's going to get it. Let him fall forward, and get the 3 feet. That's all it is. So that all said, I think we need to see that smooth out. Zach has to get comfortable, and in my opinion, it's the offensive coordinator's job to do that. It's the offensive coordinator's responsibility to build him. It's called development. And maybe it shouldn't be this way. I don't know. But understanding what you got, who it is, and what they need is key to success. You want to just pound your square peg through a round hole? You can do that. Eventually it'll go in. I don't know. It looks like shit once it goes in there. It doesn't look like a square peg anymore. But I think that you could be doing a better job. And I'd love to see Zach Wilson maybe finally get a 300-yard game or something like that. But look, at the end of the day, if we're winning, I don't really care how we're winning, right? That's the truth. And this is a team that wasn't supposed to be winning, so we're ecstatic. I'm very, very happy. That all said, again, I just think Zach Wilson needs to be brought up a different way, and we're not seeing guys like Elijah Moore and Garrett. Well, we're not seeing them. They're unable to get them into the game, and that to me is a problem. We got to figure that out. Look, coming out of 6 games, 4-2, while we're still figuring that stuff out, means that we still can be a lot better moving into the latter parts of the season. That gets me excited, and that is the news of the week. Woo! I'll tell you. So, hey, man, it's like, look, it's up and down, right? We can't expect perfection. We can't. But that doesn't mean we can't talk about the things that we see as problems. That's how I see it. That's what I'm riding. That's the train I'm on. And it's funny, as I'm recording this, there's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds in the Chiefs-Bills game. The Chiefs are up 4 points with 2 minutes left, and the Chiefs just got held so bad. So, I mean, literally just grabbed his sleeve and pulled, and they didn't call it. I don't know what's going on with these refs, which will lead us into the intelligent gripe. Yeah, I'll tell you. Now, one thing I want to preface this intelligent gripe with is this. I hate talking about the refs being a reason that you lose the game I hate it. I hate that being the foundation of any argument. But I'm going to say something here. Today, what we witnessed was one of the most egregious attempts at changing the dynamic of a game that I've ever seen. Well, let's say since that New Orleans Saints play, that, you know what I mean? The one where there was just the worst pass interference you ever saw and they decided not to call it and changed who was going to the Super Bowl. Since that, today what we witnessed was out of control. And I want to comment on this. I've never seen anything like it. The unsportsmanlike conduct. Now, our defense, who at the time, you got to remember what's going on in the game at the time. Our defense, who has been really struggling to get off the field up to this point. They've had their moments in games, but especially at the beginning of a game, being able to get off the field consistently is something that we're really hoping to see our defense be able to do. They were able to do it. Now, something went on the sideline. When I'm recording this, I still don't know what it is. The announcers didn't know what it was. Nobody could tell you what the hell it was specifically. Now, I assumed that it was Robert Saleh dancing around and the get back coach. That's what I thought, okay? I still don't even know if that's what it is. The rumor is that I'm hearing is that it's something that the special teams coach said to a referee. I don't care if the special teams coach says, hey, I hate your ugly face. You're the worst person. I don't care. Your mother. I don't care if the special teams coach talks about the referee's mom. That should never be able to take the offense of the other team and bring them back on the field. Don't care. Should not happen. Now, I get the whole thing that the penalty, if it gives you the yardage and the whole thing, then you shouldn't be doing that. You should not be changing the dynamic of a game. The defense holds. The offense and defense are off the field. The special teams are on the field. You roll them all off and you bring them on. You bring the offense and with a first down. To me, that seems like a terrible call. Now, I wouldn't even have the issue with it if when our guy was leveled outside, out of bounds, off the field, if you called that too. Now, when you look at the penalties of this game, both teams were penalized 7 times. The Jets for 79 yards, the Packers for 42 yards. It looks like it's all even. Hey, look at us. We called a great game. 3 of the Packers penalties came when the game was pretty much out of hand. It was that drive when we ended up kicking the field goal and we were down in the 5, 6, 7, 2-yard line, whatever, going back and forth when we were unable to get into the end zone and score when the Packers held us. Got to give their defense credit there. Most teams just fold. It's over. But they held. It was during that succession of downs. That's what it was. They got 3 penalties down there. So until that, it was 7 penalties for 79 yards and 4 penalties for about 35 yards. That's the difference in the game. Now, we can't ever say what's really going on, right? The NFL's under scrutiny all the time, but it just so happens to be on the heels of Mike Vrabel hitting reply all to the weekly referee officiating email that the NFL sends out with all the things that they looked at this week. And he replied to all, which means every coach, every general manager, every official, every executive, and he replied to all and said, hey, I appreciate the time and energy that goes into these videos, but I suggest we devote every minute of our officiating department's time ensuring our officiating crews are as well trained in the clarifications we work to create in the offseason, and that each crew is as consistent as possible. Thank you. So you see what I'm saying? It's not just some guy out here bitching and complaining, whining about a call. We won the game. What do I care, right? I won. What do I care? No, this is the stuff that the NFL has to stop allowing. It was completely lopsided. You brought the Packers, Hall of Fame Aaron Rodgers, you brought him back on the field for a bonus drive. That's what you did. Talk about trying to impact the winds of change, the momentum. Are you kidding me? Our defense just fought for their lives to get off the field. There, go sit down. You got to bring them back. They could be dejected and confused and tired and winded, and then they could get. Now, they held. Thankfully, they held. That's not the point. This is the kind of stuff that the NFL has to fix. And I know we're the lowly Jets. I know that's the big bad Green Bay Packers, the Aaron Rodgers. I know you want them so badly to be in the mix at the end of the year. I get it. But it shouldn't be that way. Teams like the Jets getting the shit end of the stick has to stop, and it has to stop now. And that is the intelligent gripe. Ooh, you know what? That was going to be the end of the show, but I got a bonus for you. Now we see this young whippersnapper collection that Joe Douglas is putting on the field for us, right? We love it. The last couple of years of drafts have been really good. He figured out a way to get 5 first-round picks over the past 2 years. In addition to that, he's figured out a way to get second-round picks that are kind of first-round pick talent. You could argue it, but that's what I say. So he's basically figured out a way to get 7 first-round picks, but that's not all. He's also found a way to hit with his later picks. Guys like Brandon Eccles, guys like Max Mitchell, guys like Michael Clemens, and on and on and on, right? These guys are showing that even if they're not starters, they can be impact players. Jamie Sherwood is a demon on special teams. He's not making it onto the defense, but that's okay. He's lighting it up on special teams, laying the wood. These guys are part of an overall change of culture here. Sauce, Zach, AVT, Garrett Wilson, who else? Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, right? Michael Carter, Elijah Moore. All these guys, these are the guys you want to see on your team. Meanwhile, down in Carolina, a guy that Joe Douglas allowed to leave, a lot of Jets fans were very, very unhappy with, and he even took the high road and said, yeah, I should have re-signed Robbie Anderson. That was a mistake I made, blah, 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 blah. I didn't believe it then. I don't believe it now. And this is what he's avoiding. Robbie Anderson today was literally benched by his team, by his coach. Steve Wilks, the new interim head coach, had enough of Robbie Anderson and his games, throwing helmets at Sam Darnold last year and all the stuff that he does, getting into his wide receiver coach's face today. Steve Wilks had enough and literally sent Robbie Anderson back to the locker room. And let me just ask, aren't you happy that's not our friggin' problem? I am. There you go, everybody. We're 4-2. We're having a good time. Don't forget to like and subscribe if it's your first time here and you liked it. If you didn't, you don't need to subscribe. Why'd you do that? Why'd you hit the thumbs up button if you don't like it? If you're finding yourself having a decent time, please consider supporting the channel It is greatly appreciated. And with that, let's go into Denver and kick the living hell out of them. We struggle out there in Denver, and I'm still pissed about the 1998 AFC Championship loss. We owe them for that, and we owe them for the shutout last year. Let's go into damn Mile High and show them who's boss. That's what we're going to do. Have a great week, everybody. And as always, go Jets.